Now let's complete this section by updating the query service to be able to call this analytics service. First, in the config, we will change the query type to analytics database. And then add a query from analytics database prefix with method, URI, and accept type. And then update the config data accordingly. And in the service implementation, we will check if query type is set to analytics database or Kafka state store. Let's add a new method to query analytics database and get word count data from analytics service. We will simply call the previous retrieve response model method. Note that again we pass the access token as a header on the request. Alright, let's now commit and push config server changes and then run maven install command for the new analytics service to create the Docker image. We also need to create the Docker images for query service, so actually we can run maven install command from the base directory, so that we can create the Docker images using the build image call of Spring Boot Maven plugin. Then we can add this new service to the services YAML file. We set the port as 8188 and then set the required environment variables to refer to host names as we did for Kafka Stream Service API. Let's also change query service to refer to analytics service using the host name. Now if we set the query type of analytics database for query service in compose file and then run the docker compose up command, we should still see the word count response on the web client. But before that, I want to check the logs from PostgreSQL and see if our data inserted in batches or not. We expect it to be inserted in batches since we used batch inserts, and also we set rewrite batch inserts to true in the connection URL of PostgreSQL. But when we check the Hibernate logs, we actually don't see the inserts as batches. As you can see here, it only shows separate inserts. This is because the rewrite batch inserts will be applied at the database side after we send the data. So to be sure that data is inserted in batches, we will go and check the PostgreSQL. First, we need to change the log config file in postgresql.conf. Go and open the file which is located under library folder in macOS. You can check the Postgres documentation to find where is the configuration file for other operation systems. Then we will open the configuration file using a text editor. We need to check the log underscore statement variable and it should be set as all. If not, please change it. We can then check if the change is applied on pgadmin using command select star from pg file settings. Then we can go and check the log files under PostgreSQL data log directory. I will view the latest log files last 500 lines in this directory using tail command. And as we see here, batches are rewritten and sent in one request using one statement to database engine. Now if we stop the application and set rewrite batch inserts to false, these statements won't be written into a single statement and inserted as separate statements instead. So we can say that on heavy batch insert, we can really gain a good performance benefit from the batch inserts, not only by sending the data to database in batches to prevent too much network requests, but also with an additional rewrite batch inserts property, by which we can tell PostgreSQL that we want to insert all data at once into database. One more thing I want to mention here is that we use a UID generator for the primary key of our table, as you can see here. So we set it before sending the data programmatically. If you try to auto-increment this ID at the database level, you won't be able to insert data in batches, because at each insert, an ID needs to be created in that case, which will prevent inserting data in batches. So remember that with an auto-increment ID field, we cannot use batching. That's why we set the ID using an UID generator. Let's now continue running the docker compose up command. Here we see that analytics service already inserting to the Twitter analytics table. And now if we log into the web client, we should see the word count on the result page. Great, we are done with this final microservice. In the next section, we will introduce service discovery using Netflix Eureka. Alright, good job so far. I will see you in the next section.